Billy back here with Broship of the Nerds, and we finally are hitting one of my favorite films in my collection, and one that I was more than happy to revisit. 1996, James and the Giant Peach. $10 for the Blu ray DVD combo. That's a steal in my eyes. That is just a steal because growing up, I was really into Goosebumps, X Files. My dad and I would watch that. Charmed. James and the Giant Peach right here. I like this because it's different. James is a boy who tragically loses his parents from a rhinoceros when he's young. He had a happy childhood up till then, and then he lives with his aunt Spiker and Sponge, and they are horrible. They beat him. They don't feed him much. They make him work to death as a kid, and he's treated terribly. And a man visits him with a bag of green glowy things. He says they're crocodile tongues and other things. Um, and he tells him that they're magic. They have more magic than anything else. But he says, don't let go of them. Well, the bag drops, and they all, except for one, they go into a peach. Now, this peach grows huge, and Aunt Spiker and Sponge are excited because they're like, yes, they're giving tours. People can come see the peach, and they have to pay good money for it. So they're making money off this. They're profiting. Meanwhile, James is not allowed to play with the kids. He has to go out and clean up after everybody leaves. Once again, not fed well. He is dressed in a suit at one point, but he still isn't taken care of very well. It's all just an image, right? The ants want to make you believe they're good people, but they're not. And this peach just got really big, and James finds one of those green glowy things, and it goes into the peach, and he takes a bite of the peach, and then that crocodile tongue goes into him. One of the probably my second favorite transition of any movie, behind Wizard of Oz, and we'll get to that eventually. But whenever James goes into the peach, we go from live action to claymation. I love claymation. I think this movie is what got me into that style, like Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse's Bride, Beetlejuice, odd, quirky films with a lot of character and personality. This film has that. It's only 74 minutes long, so a shorter film. He meets Spider, the old grasshopper, earthworm, ladybug, centipede, and they go on this adventure because as a boy, his parents told him they were going to take him to New York, this big city, and they even look at a cloud to find the tallest building, which at the time Empire State Building. So just such a great film, and also when you watch this movie, it takes you back in the days before the cell phones, where people would actually interact with each other and sit around and watch a movie together. This is just such a great film. Like I said, it doesn't overstay its welcome. 79 minutes, not 74. So an hour and 19 minutes. Very short movie. It was produced by Tim Burton, but for some reason, they give credit to him, but actually, it's a Henry Selick film. And the same thing happened with Nightmare Before Christmas. Even though in this film, James and the Giant Peach, Burton's just a producer, it actually says, in a digitally restored special edition from Tim Burton, the acclaimed director of Alice in Wonderland. So even though this was actually directed by Henry uh, Selick, and Randy Newman did the music, great. This is a fun little movie. James is looking for anything to bring him happiness, and he meets these bugs, and they go on this wild adventure where they have to tie the spider web to the seagulls so they can fly over the water. They're almost taken out by a submarine that's shaped like a shark. They fly over. They have to battle a skeleton, um, and to retrieve the compass. And then once they do make it to the city, everyone thinks James is lying, and then his aunts show up and say, "Oh, he needs his medication." They're playing the crowd. Then the bugs come down, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is real." And he shares his story with his friends. They eat the peach down to the pit. The pit is turned into a house, which I thought was a cool little touch. He lives with. He goes back to live action, and he's living with the bugs. But the thing is that there's so much freedom for these bugs. There's the underground tunnels for earthworm. There's so much freedom for these creatures, and he's not connecting with humans. He connects with these bugs. The spider was his first friend, and then he starts meeting kids and telling the stories and everything, and they take the bugs take care of him. Now, if we could all live such a great, simple life like that. I really love this movie. This is an A plus movie. This is the first movie in my collection that I've rewatched that I'm giving an A plus. The X Men films got A, and B, and then Nerve, which I've previously reviewed on this channel. I believe I gave it, and this is just my own rating, guys. I gave Nerve an A. Um, this is an A plus for me because it is the perfect film for my taste. So when I tell you guys when I'm rating these films, A, B, C, D, F, and then A plus. A plus means this is something that if I was restarting my collection from scratch, it would be one of the first films I would go after. This is probably first 10 to 20 films I would want to buy. It's that good for me. And I want to hear your thoughts on James and the Giant Peach. I really like the spider character because she feels alone as well, just like James, so they're able to relate in that way. But James saved her, so um, because he treated her with kindness first, she treats him with kindness. And they have a really good bond. The ladybug's really sweet. Centipede's kind of all talk, he's funny. Grasshopper is actually tough and very wise and musically talented, obviously. And Earthworm is funny. And then you have I believe it was the Glow that provides a light, but the Glow is not in this very much. But cute film, and he's able to get away from his terrible aunts. And you got Richard Dreyfuss, Susan Sarandon, Simon Cowell, Jane Leeves. I mean, just a tremendous who's who cast here. And like I said, this movie, what's fascinating is it does come with some good bonus features. So it comes with Spike the Ant's interactive game. Basically, you sit there and you have to charge this rhino, and it bashes up and bashes the ants, which is really funny. You have a behind the scenes look at the making of the film, which I've watched that with my buddy Eddie. Shout out to our other channel, The Trick or Treaters. We already reviewed this, but this is a solo review. If you want to check that out, go to Trick or Treaters. TRICKOR Treaters, TREATERS. But anyways, we reviewed this, and the behind the scenes said for like each minute of claymation, it took like a week. So you're talking over a year just for the claymation stuff. Claymation's excellent. I love this. I like when claymation or practical effects are used over CGI. Because, yeah, it's harder. I've learned from some special effects people because you have to get it in the shot without seeing the people, but it looks so lifelike and it brings more layers to a movie. It really makes that environment pop whenever you have practical effects. And in this case, this was claymation, and the claymation's excellent. When you watch this film on Blu-ray, the picture quality is great. Now, I don't know if we'll ever get this on 4K, but honestly, sometimes you can overscale. I've actually seen some films where the 4K doesn't look too good. The Blu-ray is better. So I would advise DVDs are fine. I'm happy with DVDs. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, keep your DVDs. But if you have a choice of getting Blu-ray or DVD and there's no 4K, I would say get the Blu-ray. There are some titles I own that only have DVD, or the Blu-ray was so sought after, it either sold out or became so expensive that I stuck with the DVD. There's nothing wrong with that. I would never bash somebody for collecting movies they love on whatever format they choose. I like Blu-ray. I like 4K too, but 4K for me is reserved for the really visually stunning films. Avatar films, for example, I have both the first two in 4K. I need to get the third one. For some reason, I passed up on it. I hadn't seen that in theaters like I did the first two. scheduling just didn't work. But anyways, Blu-ray is perfect. It was $10. You get behind the scenes look at the making of the film, the Good News music video performed by Randy Newman, and original theatrical trailer, which is always fun to see how they were advertising this. This is one of those. It's one of my favorite Disney films. I can't sit there and say it is my favorite Disney film, but it's up there in my probably like top five. It's definitely one of my favorite Disney films. Maybe it is my favorite Disney film, but I can't confirm that just yet because this is the first Disney film I'm actually reviewing for this new series where we're watching films. Um, I really like that James is able to get away from his aunts, and I like the ridiculousness of the car being crushed by the Peach when he's first escaping, but they somehow made it all the way to New York in that state with that car. I just find that hilarious. And how wicked and ridiculous they look at the end when they're doing the final confrontation in New York City. They look evil just because of the way they look, and it's hilarious. But this is one of those that I think here we are, 30 years later, and I'm still talking about this film. I love it. It's one of those that I grew up with, and I don't think I'll ever stop loving. But yeah, it's got a lot of heart to it. Good characters, good story. What isn't there to love, right? James and the Giant Peach. Like I said, I got this at Walmart. So did my buddy Eddie. I think we each paid $10 for this. I bought it, showed it to, I think I showed it to him, and then he instantly bought it as well. This was one of those that they had copies of, and then boom, it was gone. So if you find a Blu-ray for like $10, buy it. If you can, buy it, because a lot of times once they sell out of in store, they don't usually restock that particular title, and you're gonna have to go online and pay more unless you can get pre-owned or something. But not everybody has a local movie store, um, which I don't have one that close. I have one close, but it's very limited. Whereas if I want like boutique and high quality, I got to either buy online or I got to drive. Walmart has some stuff, but if I'm gonna go like boutique or get really old films where we're specialty, my favorite ones, two of them. Well, actually, no, my favorite V stock. It's probably like an hour and a hour 10, hour 20 for me, and there's multiple down in St. Louis area. But yeah, this is one of those I love. And as I said, you find something like this for $10 on Blu-ray, and you can do it, buy it, because you could come back the next day and it's gone. And like I said, they don't always restock certain titles. But this was a must-have for me. This is in my top, like right now, it's my top film in my collection. Like I said, what I'm doing is I'm restarting for the series. I'm watching films. I'm deciding what I'm grading them, and for my current taste, do they still fit? This one still fits. This one stays. So far in my collection, 5 films, and I will keep this going. And at the end of each year, I will do a video of what I physically own, but I won't go through everything that's unwatched. I'm only going to show every year what I've watched. So every year it's going to get bigger. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Leave me a comment. What did you think of James and the Giant Peach? What are your memories of it? What are your thoughts on it? Do you have any favorite bugs or characters? I'm torn because I really like how sweet Ladybug is, but I am a big fan of Grasshopper. Centipede has his moments, but for me, it's between Ladybug and Spider. I'm gonna go Spider. Arachnid. I think Spider is my favorite character because, like she said, they have every reason to fear her, um, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, this is a very lovable film. James is a very lovable character, and you just are rooting for him because of everything he goes through. I do have the book that I picked up when I was on vacation one year. I just haven't sat down and read it yet. But yeah, let me know what you think. And are you a fan? Are you a fan of claymation? Because I just find there's something to claymation that really brings characters like this to life. I mean, you're talking an arachnid and some bugs with a little boy. It shouldn't work, but it does. And I think that's what's so cool about it. It's so unique. And this is what got me, like I said, I was into Goosebumps, X-Files. This is what got me into the quirky, offbeat, the outcast, right? The people who could be in a room and get along with everybody but still feel misunderstood. So stuff like Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice, Sleepy Hollow, Edward Scissorhands. I really connect with those types of films. Just because even though I have good friends, I've always kind of done things unconventional ways, and I've always had a kind of a weird quirkiness about myself, as people would describe. But yeah, so I just relate to these characters because they're so offbeat and different and unique. That's all I have, guys. Take care.